Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wild Chats, your home for everything animals. I am Ryan. That over there is Maria. The question for everybody today is when you think of the clumsiest animal, what is the first animal that pops into your mind? That could be uncoordinated clumsy. It could be just awkward looking and you assume they'd be clumsy. But everybody usually, when you think clumsy animal, something pops into your mind. Maria, what is it for you?
So the first thing that came to mind as soon as you said the word clumsy, and I don't know if this is a stereotype and I feel bad, but I thought of penguins.
Penguins.
hmm
Okay.
Just because they
Okay.
look awkward when they're walking, they just look like they cannot fly, although they glide through the water perfectly. But they just look so weird when they try to walk.
I think that's the interesting thing is penguins. Most people don't really think of it offhand. I mean, once you think about it a little bit, it makes sense. But they're designed for the water. We
Yes, they are.
see them on land because clearly it's easier for us to see a land animal. But yeah, they are very much designed for the water. When you see a penguin in the water, they are actually extremely graceful, very agile. But yes, they're a little land waddle trying to get from place to place. Definitely, but it is pretty cool when they go sliding and they go on their bellies and they just slide across the ice. But then it also does look like some kind of Laurel and Hardy movie where he just fell down and now he's sliding down the ice. So I guess even the graceful aspect on land looks a little bit clumsy onto itself.
Yes.
Um, so today we're gonna have some fun with some clumsy animals, and well, let's see. Hold on. So every once in a while, I get a little problem with my eyes. I get what are called optical migraines, and basically, it's like if you look at the sun, and you get those sunspots in your vision that take a little while to clear up. So that kind of hit me just now. So if you guys see me looking in funky places, it's because I have sunspots in my vision right now. So anybody else that has optical migraines, you feel my pain, and if you don't, lucky you.
Yeah.
So if my eye line looks a little bit off, that's what's going on there. So that's not me trying to make fun of these animals or me clumsily looking around the screen.
Like I'm not trying to imitate the clumsy animals we're talking
Yes.
about.
Yes. It's like, oh look, Ryan's trying to act. It's adorable. He looks awkward as can be. No wonder he stopped trying to do that.
Acting is not for everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. But so sometimes you can be clumsy. Certain people that just seem to not be as coordinated as other people. And sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes something gets in your way, sometimes you just don't see it, and it's us, but it happens to animals too. And this poor dog at night, even with the lights of the car, was just kind of cruising along and didn't happen to see this big thing in its path. And he's pretty fortunate that this very large snake didn't care so much that he happened to trip over the top of him.
I hope the snake is okay. Hopefully people actually stop because it's very bizarre to see the snake.
He's moving along, and it seems like it's a back street to like a neighborhood. So I think the snake is okay, and he does look when the dog hits him here. So I think
Yes, it retracts.
yeah, don't think it is like a concern. It's just so funny. And then the dog realizes what he hit, and you can see him walking like those first few steps sideways are like, oh crap, I need to get away from here.
That was hilarious. That look he gave it like oops, oops, oops.
Like, oh, wait, that's a snake. Hold on.
Never mind. Let's run really fast.
Basically. So
I was
it's
just
hard.
surprised that the snake didn't react more and it was nice of the car to just kind of watch the whole thing, like just wait for the snake to cross.
That was my next question, and I would love to hear what everybody out there thinks. How did this scene play out? Because that was just a really random, like, dog is walking towards car, so is that his owner's car? Like, the car stopped for the snake, which makes, like, that whole scene to me, like, if it was on, like, TikTok or something, I would assume somebody, like, staged it. But I don't think that that's the case here, obviously. But what is your perception of what happened there?
So if I were to come up with scenario that happened, like if I were to
Yes.
invent the whole backstory of it, what I will come up with, not like what I did with the cat and the dog a couple of episodes ago, that I started narrating both sides of the story,
Yes.
and it's
That was awesome, guys. Check that out. I remember what episode it was. Maria will put a link below to Maria's funny narration. Oh, it was Dogs and Cats or Cats and Dogs video. That's what it
yes, I
was.
think it was.
Yes. Yes.
It
Maria.
wasn't food time. It was cat. Okay, so just go to cats and dogs, and you'll find my narration there.
Yes. Yes.
But in this case, I honestly feel that that's an area where they're probably used to seeing snakes, or they're used to. No, it didn't look, because if you're used to seeing snakes, you will have driven around on the side. It could be something that they just wanted to look at the snake, and the dog belonged to the owner of that car, and he was
Okay.
just crossing to maybe approach the car, and it just happened. The whole scene just happened.
That's what I was trying to figure out because the dog is walking in the middle of the street towards the headlights, which a dog wouldn't
Yes.
do if there's a car in the street. If he
No,
doesn't know the car or the owner, the last thing you're going to do is walk down the middle of the street, even on a back road.
I
So
agree.
that was the part where I was kind of like, why is this dog even walking in the middle of the street? I understand the car stopped, headlights, sees a snake. But then, like, I don't know, the whole dog thing to me. So I'd love to get everybody else's input as to what they think was actually going on or how that kind of broke down. It was definitely a back street. So, I mean, yeah. I don't
I
think
just
somebody.
love the most beautiful part of the whole story was the dog when he hits it, like, oh, what was that?
Yeah, he looks back like, what was that? And then he realizes and he sidesteps and then he really realizes what it was. And you could see him pick up his sidestep.
Yeah,
Like,
he
oh, that
shimmies
was
faster.
yeah. Need to get away from that one.
Yes.
So I am going to guess that some of you guys out there, when I asked you what you thought the clumsiest animal was, that this next animal probably popped into a lot of people's heads because as adorable as they are, they're probably not thought of as the most like agile, coordinated creatures on the planet. Pandas have a reputation for being a little not so. Yeah, not
Oh,
so coordinate. Yeah.
a very, very long fall.
The
But something
panda
else fell too. If you look at it, he
it's a
falls.
leaf. I think he was trying to eat the leaf as he was climbing. Like it looks like he tries to like take a munch, and then
Yep.
and pulls the leaf down with him.
And then the branch falls. Oops.
But that's okay because baby animals sometimes are not the most agile. If you see like a baby giraffe or something, like they just look a little clumsy. But the nice thing is, as we get older, we get a little more coordinated. We get some more abilities. So pandas too. Sometimes they get a little older. Now they're in their prime. You don't have to worry about a panda just like falling over out of nowhere once they get. Oh wait, no. Yeah, no, they still do. They totally still do.
No regards for its safety. Like, no regards.
He's like, I want this bag, and then when he doesn't get it, I like how he beats it up afterwards. But it's like, how do I get to this pillow-looking thing? If I sit up, I'll get a better perspective. Hold on, I'm sure I can figure this out. Let me lean in a little bit.
3, 2.
And then he's mad and just starts swatting at it. That's my favorite part.
That is so adorable how he does that. I love how he kind of slid.
Yeah.
Like, he fell, but then he slid. Like, that was pretty cute how he did that.
Mm-hmm.
You're
So
right. Those black and white animals are in the category of some of the clumsiest. Although I wouldn't say an orca is clumsy.
Yeah, no, if you see an orca hunting, like even when they're on land, they seem pretty dang agile. So
Yes, I was just referencing the fact that I said penguin, which are black and white, and
yes.
then you show the panda, which is also black and white. So I was going for what else is black and white, but
Well,
definitely orcas are in the
penguins have, like,
opposite
this-
side.
But they have like a yellow orangish bill, so they're not just black and white, the penguins, The baby ones, when they're still really fluffy and furry,
They're
those guys
gray,
are just black and white. Aren't their bills like yellow or orange penguin bills?
depending on the species. Depending on the species,
Okay. The one that's locked into my brain right now is not just black and white, but that's just
it's an emperor. I think you're thinking of the emperor one, which is
Okay.
much more reddish or yellowish and a little bit orange.
There's a lot of different penguins, and you find them in places you wouldn't imagine. Like
I
Australia's got a big penguin population. Um,
Africa has a big penguin population.
Down south, that makes sense because South Africa is, I mean, that water is really, really cold. I'm always surprised that that's like the Great White Alley. I would always assume, and I forget how cold the water that great white sharks actually like. Because, yeah, the southern point of Africa is pretty far south. I don't think, since most of the world is like in the northern hemisphere, like a majority of the population is there,
Yep.
like a lot of us don't really think about the dynamics of the southern hemisphere and how close certain things are to, yeah. So there is a bird that is like when I was looking up clumsiest animals that kept popping up on the list that I had never heard of before. And it's Hoatzin. So Hoatzin.
Hoatzin.
Yes.
Okay.
Hoatzin. Yes. But apparently
Hoatzin.
they're one of the few birds left that actually develop like claws on the end of their wings, like old school like dinosaur style. Like
Yeah,
they
like they
actually
used
have.
to be. There are actually a couple of those in South America
Yeah.
that have
So these
claws
guys
in
have
their.
little hooks on the ends of their claws and stuff. So they actually have taken to like climbing. And because of that development and their environment, now they no longer have like really developed pectoral muscles. So they actually can't fly very well. So they have wings that look like legit wings and they have claws that look like old flying dinosaurs, but they use the claws now to climb, but they're not very good at it because they just have the claw at the end. So it's like, all right, you're an ice mountain climber, and you get two hooks, and that's it. So if you don't get
Mhm.
a good grip with one of the hook, it's probably not going to go well for you.
Yeah.
So
Thank God
that's
that you
kind
have the other.
yeah, that's kind of the boat that these guys are in. So now they don't fly very well, and they only have two hooks. Unfortunately, they are relatively rare, so I could not find a video of them, but I wanted you guys to at least see them. Um,
Where are they from?
you know what? I did not look up their region. I was just kind of focused on Clumsy. They're really cool looking birds, though. But with their weight and lack of muscle, they end up being like some of the clumsier animals just because none of their locomotion motives are actually
Wow,
really
they're
good.
beautiful.
Yeah, they really, really are.
They look like a really
Um,
fancy chicken.
kind of, kind of.
That's
Um,
amazing. I like the
but
first one you showed when it was like almost hunting. The
yeah, the
first time
midair.
that one.
hmm
Look at those legs.
But yeah, you can see the buildup. Like you see under its neck and stuff. Like usually on a pigeon, that chest is really built up. Like people don't realize how much of the pectoral muscles a bird needs. I know that their bones are hollow and that's what allows them to fly, but you still need those pectoral muscles to be able to do that motion and get that
Mhm.
lift. And these guys
Wow.
just don't have it anymore. So they
That is
can fly,
incredible.
just not long distances and are very well. Kind of like the peacock video we were showing. Um,
Uh-huh.
I think that was Animal Fails. I'm not sure which one.
And no,
Um,
it was strong animals, and then you just showed the peacock as a.
oh, is a not example. Yeah. Because somebody basically takes this peacock, throws it up in the air, tries to help it fly, but it's got such a big mane and it's gotten so heavy over time that it basically kind of glides and then you could see it starting to float down to earth. Peacocks can fly, but not so good at it. Not so good at it.
Well, the tails are too heavy. I mean, the tails are really, it weights them down.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like
Mm-hmm.
chickens or turkeys. They could fly up a tree, but that's as far as they go.
Yeah, yeah, that's the other one too. You don't think of chickens flying very often. You hear about them flying the coop, but you rarely see a chicken fly anywhere. So there's a little
One
irony.
flew over the cuckoo's nest.
That's a whole different kind of bird and situation there. That's yes. So you got to come back to our furry friends. We like to take them out. We like to take them adventuring with us. Sometimes they get a little ahead of themselves. Have you ever gone skiing in like deep powder, Maria?
Yes.
Yes. Have you ever gone skiing in deep powder where they had groomed the slopes, but like the side areas that you can still get to aren't groomed yet?
Yes.
You have. Okay.
Um, yes.
Anybody else that's
Oof.
been in this scenario knows that there's kind of a trick that you have to use because you're going from not fresh powder to fresh powder. What was your experience?
So the problem was the first time I went skiing, there was like 18 inches of brand new snow.
Okay.
So, and I was just learning. So I literally went gung ho crazy and I didn't care falling because when you have that much snow, the impact is
Yeah.
very minimal. So
Okay.
we were going this by the second or third day of class. By the second day of class, we're actually going Black Diamonds.
Okay.
That's very, very good. But that's
Yeah.
also because there was so much snow. So it was really, I wasn't afraid.
And also,
Five
black
years
diamonds are
later.
usually because there's moguls, and you don't have moguls when you've got fresh snow for the most part. So yeah, black
Exactly.
diamonds are now blue diamonds essentially.
Exactly. So exactly. They were closer to a green than it was, but they were
Yeah.
still steep.
Yeah.
So then 5 years later, I go back skiing. But that time, even though it was around the same time of the year, there was hardly any snow.
Yes.
So then it was mostly ice. So you
Um.
kind of went to the sides. Like if you got off road a little bit, it was really scary because you're going really fast and all of a sudden you're like, just
Mm-hmm.
go fly. I went
Exactly.
flying, flying.
Exactly.
And that was painful because every time I felt, it hurt. And I ended up with a purple eye. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. So exactly, you get that momentum where everything's fine, and then you hit like the deep powder, and if you don't know to lean back, and kind of point your toes up, it's almost like riding a horse. You got to kind of put heels down, toes up, and then that way you can stay in the saddle. Well, this is like heels down, toes up, so you don't just dig into the powder and go face first.
I'm about to kill myself.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, this same exact thing, thanks to physics and gravity and everything else that you want to talk about, happens with sand. If you go from really smooth to deep sand, this can also happen. And
I've done that
sometimes
with
when
bikes.
you're a tiny dog with tiny legs, you don't really account for that.
Dude.
Look at this guy. He's like, I'm running. Oh, wait, hold on. Ow.
Ah, he didn't break. Thank goodness.
No, he bounces right back up, and he walks away. He's fine. But
Ugh.
you could tell he was running, didn't expect it to be that deep, and then once he hit the big pocket of sand, he just lost it.
He land. Thank goodness he landed on his feet, and then at the end, when was he planted, like face planted? But he
Mhm.
did land on his feet before he. It looks worse than when it was. Once you look at it really well, it
Yes.
actually looks worse than when you like. Oh no, he landed on his feet, and then he
Yes.
didn't just go diving, dry
Yeah.
diving.
That's why I wanted to show the part where he runs back and looks okay, and then I wanted to do it in slow motion so everybody could see that it wasn't as horrendous as it looked. Because again, I don't think that was a. I wouldn't put that in a fail video. That was just like uncoordinated, a little clumsy. Didn't realize deep sand. I'm not going to get as much attraction, and
That
he
was a
basically.
whoopsie.
Yes, it was a whoopsie. Exactly. Basically, every one of these clips, you can just go whoops, whoops, and it will go perfectly, absolutely perfectly. Um,
Which I do all the time because Pepita sometimes is just like she doesn't see something, or you're like, whoops, okay.
meant to do that, right? Totally,
Oh,
totally meant to do that.
oh, talking about fails, I gotta add a story here really
Okay.
quickly. This was me clumsy and super mega whoops.
Okay.
So I take Pepita on a plane ride and we pass through TSA.
Okay.
I take Pepita out, and I didn't notice that the girl who was helping me opened both of the in the bag. It has two little like zippers
Okay.
where that has the mesh, and anyway, I didn't notice that she had opened them.
Okay.
So because I had the one on top open, so there are like three access points. So
Mm-hmm.
I put Pepita back in the top, and off I go. We take, thank goodness there were stairs, and we're taking the electrical like thank goodness we were on stairs because Pepita fell right behind me, but she landed on the step above, so the landing was this much.
Yes.
But the problem was that she kept rolling down, and I'm like, I about had a heart attack because she fell off a stair, she lost balance, landed on the second, and then by the third she took a grip, and we were high enough so I was able to get down and grab her before.
Yeah, you were at like the end of the escalator, which would have made you even more nervous. Yes, exactly.
Oh, I honestly wanted to die. Like, seriously, about lost it. Thank goodness I have given her rescue remedy.
Okay.
So she was very calm. It didn't cause any drama. She didn't yelp. Nothing happened. She was like, oh,
Okay.
I guess I fell down.
She's not at the point in this point in her life where she had to like start running up the stairs to like save from being at the end of the escalator that she would have made it. I don't think. I don't because like escalator stairs are like 1.5 times a regular stair. I don't know if people
Yes. She wouldn't have
could
been able to jump it.
yeah scale the escalator stairs anymore.
But I honestly about had a heart attack. That was super clumsy of me.
Understandable. Understandable. Um, so it's not all dogs though. So we we've talked about the bird that isn't coordinated. We all expect the panda, you know. But sometimes the clumsy is it's kind of your fault. Have you ever been somewhere where you're like you just kind of get turned around a little bit and as you're trying to get out, it just gets worse. You're like, okay, this is not like I'm that okay, no, that's not gonna okay. And then you just end up whatever the situation it's almost like quicksand. Like in your effort to try to make it better, you just keep making it worse. So this guy kind of basically is in that exact situation. Because he's trapped on some kind of limb of a tree, this gigantic elephant, well, this adolescent elephant. But then as he tries to get himself free, it's like he just keeps making the situation worse.
Yeah. But I can see his technique though. Like he's literally trying to like break the branches.
Yeah, that was
Oh
great at
no.
that point, but now he's getting into more branches. And
Oh, poor guy. How stressful of it. Oh, there you go.
he's trying to step over. He's got it. Okay, now he's got it.
That was very smart. That was very, very smart how eventually kind of figure out, okay, my back legs are trapped. Let me turn around so I can lift them easier. Like that was very smart.
Mhm.
So even though it was clumsy, there they show why they are known as great memory and really good problem solvers if you
They
think
are.
about it.
They really are smart animals. And if you try to remind me, we've got one. It's a couple videos from now. We're gonna have some fun. But once you'll see that guy again in the future. Uh,
Oh gosh.
yes, he will make a return appearance in a future video. So
So he will do a DIY how to escape.
right. Well, I don't want to give it away. You're gonna have to wait for it. You're gonna have to wait for it. He will show
He's
up
gonna
on.
do a life hack video.
Yes, not today. It's gonna be a different day. But we will see this guy again. Um,
I love that.
so have you heard of the Solenodons? There's like a Cuban Solenodon. They're kind of big in South America. There's not that many of them left, unfortunately. So again, this is another one that I couldn't find a video for, just because there's just unfortunately
Celadon.
these guys
I
left.
don't. Is that from what family? Give me a clue.
He's got like a pointy nose, and they kind of look radish. You know what? I will just play the again. It'll be a little photo montage, and then so basically these guys, the way they get around is they don't travel on a straight path. Like their normal walking style is kind of a zigzag. The myth that we have bust don't ever run away from a crocodile or an alligator in a zigzag pattern. Nobody told this guy because apparently their locomotion is in this kind of zigzag form. So they're not necessarily super clumsy, but they have a reputation for being clumsy because if you just see them, they just kind of look like they don't know where they're going or what they're doing or anything like that. So when you look, but this
Oh,
is
look how cute they are.
so they're kind of big in the Caribbean. There's a few different species of them, but there's not many of them. So the last species seen was actually in 1890, and they thought that
Oh,
they were extinct. And you can tell that that photo is nowhere from the 1890s. It would be a little more black and a little more white.
yeah. Or perhaps cartoonish.
But they were rediscovered. So they were declared extinct in 1970, And then somebody actually came across one in 2003, and I think that's some of these photos you're seeing here.
Wow.
So they were gone and then back, and then now no one's seen one since 2003, so they think they might be gone again. So there's a Cuban Solenodon, and then there is a what's the other one? Hispaniola, which are in Haiti.
Yeah, I was just gonna say they're Dominican or Haiti.
And those are the only two places. There's a national park where they have found evidence that they're probably still there, but nobody has seen one. And it is a national park, so fortunately, at least they have a protected area that they might still be around. But because of they make the clumsy list just because of their locomotion pattern, everybody assumes they're clumsy, just because they do that zigzaggy. What's Peeps up to over there?
She's having a really deep, deep, deep dream.
Is she? Has she got her paws going and everything, or is she just yipping? Can't hear her. Can't hear her.
She's just like,
Oh,
that.
she's snorling. Okay.
He's adorable. Sorry, but that was
little like imagination run in there. We getting all of them?
not yet. Not yet. She may
Not
get
yet.
to every once in a while. She moves one paw. She never does the full run.
Never does both paws. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
she just does one or. But that's it. It's not. It's not like the video they show of that dog who starts running and then he wakes himself up.
No. I haven't seen that one. I don't think.
It's adorable. It's adorable.
I don't think I've seen that one.
He's sleeping sideways, and then he starts doing like what Pepita was doing. Like you can tell he's dreaming. The rapid eye movement going, and then the legs start going slowly, and all of a sudden he like goes really, really fast, and he actually wakes himself up, and he's just so startled by the whole situation. It is hilarious.
Like you would imagine that would come like if I was falling, I would probably do that. You kind of slowly like, and then you're like you're like, oh god. Like I wonder if he was like having a falling dream or something like that.
I don't know. Whatever it was, somebody was either chasing him or something, but that doggy was going crazy.
Gotcha. You want to see another animal going crazy?
Well, depends. Is it good crazy or bad crazy?
No, good crazy. Not
good.
Bad
Okay.
Crazy. Not a bad crazy. So I had to mute the music because of all the copyright stuff. But you know that song "I Need a Hero"? I think it's in a lot of Rocky movies and like old '80s. Like "I need a hero," and then it's like they use it for like training montages and stuff most of the time. So I need you to imagine that song overlaid onto this clip.
Okay, let's do it.
I can't play it, but just imagine that song with this guy.
Oh. Yeah, he's definitely. Oh, poor guy.
He's fine.
That's adorable.
Disc. He is a master of this disc. He has no problems. He's. Oh wait.
I love at the end when he loses control and off he goes.
I like it because the first time he hangs on to the lip and he's able to maintain it till it slows down, and then you see him hanging on to the lip, and then he's kind of halfway off, and then it's over with.
I do tell you one thing. Animals, well, humans too, they can do it, but the problem is our mind takes over, so we actually tense up, and that's what hurts us more than if we were relaxed.
Yes.
Animals, they just have it down to a science. They just fully relax, and it's like their body is just nothing happens.
And that's actually one of the things, and it's so there's like good advice that we get in life, and then there's like practical advice, stuff we can actually use. But that's what they tell you. They said one of the best pieces of advice, if you're ever in a car accident or a bad fall or anything like that, is just relax. If you relax, you damage because you don't tense your muscles, and the damage is actually much less. But what's the practicality of I'm about to get into like a head-on car crash, or I'm falling off the 4th story of a building, and me just going zen and being like, I'm good, everything's fine.
I believe I can fly.
I mean, it's great advice. Thanks for telling me that. But the practicality of me actually using that advice.
Well, and the thing is, even though it happens in a microsecond, like when I've gotten into car accidents, I can actually see the car slow, like everything just slows down. It's very
Sure.
bizarre.
But
And you actually have time to think. Like you're like, not that time to think, but you have
yeah.
like you see the car moving and you slowly, like I remember there was a nasty car accident I got into, and the car was literally going towards me and I was in the passenger seat. And I had time to just cover my
Mhm.
body away from the upcoming traffic. But I was not thinking about, oh, relax, let your body float. No, you're
Well,
like, oh goodness.
the thing is that that exact thing that you're talking about that was built out of adrenaline. When adrenaline hits our system, that's when everything seems to slow down. And because everything slows down, we can react a little bit. But then the flip side of that is when adrenaline hits our system, calm, relaxed is kind of the opposite of what your body is setting itself up for. It wants you to be alert and attentive so you can maybe take that half a second to turn your body or do something that might be helpful. But that's the exact opposite of like calm and real. It's like, all right, I'm going to pump you with adrenaline and I want you to meditate. Go for it. Come on, do
Yeah,
better.
you can do it. You can do it. But it is interesting because it does give you enough time to, like what I did was to cover my more vital organs
Yeah,
with my inbuilt shield, which will be my bone structure.
exactly.
But
But
I tell you
yeah.
one thing, the backslash, like once the airbags explode,
Mhm.
is so painful. It's so painful.
Yeah. I've heard from, it depends because they're set, it's that fine line thing. They're set to go off at a certain speed and a certain impact, but then at that bottom, like 20% of that speed impact ratio, the airbag hurts more than the actual impact. You're like, could we ratchet that up a little bit where like if it's at 30 miles an hour and like 5,000 psi, can we put that up like 20% so at least that way I'm not feeling like the airbag beat me up more than I know we can't do
Yeah.
this. This isn't practical, but yeah, airbags are kind of that trade-off where it's like, okay, they're very helpful, and I definitely want one if I'm getting into like a 75 mile an hour, like near, like clip the side of my car, bring them on. But I know in the early airbags too, they went off like people would get like tapped in the back bumper and their airbag would go off. Like their sensors on
Oh.
them were pretty horrible at the very beginning.
I do have a PSI. PSA.
PSI? PSA. I said PSI. That would be pounds per square inch. Um, you also have a PSI like in your bike tires, so you do have a PSI, but that's probably not what you mean to talk about here.
I mean, the airbags do have a PSI, I assume. So,
Yes, pounds per square inch, exactly. Yes.
PSA. One of the things people suggest that you never do for your safety is if you are on the passenger side and you're in a road trip, most people put their feet on the dashboard.
Yes.
It's comfortable,
Yes.
extremely dangerous. Because if you get into a car accident and those bags explode, your knees are gonna come at you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's not the impact, it's because the airbag's coming out. So yeah, better
Yeah, you're gonna break something.
So if you want to be safe, everybody, what you need to do is before you ever take a road trip again, is do like a year or two of yoga. Get really flexible. That way, if you and then you want to put your heels all the way on top of the dashboard. So that way, when the airbag comes out, all it's really going to do is just push your legs back at you. And after that 2 years of yoga, you'll be flexible enough that with the airbag pushing your legs back behind your ears, you'll be fine. Totally fine. No issues whatsoever. Only downside of this plan, of course, I admit you cannot take a road trip for several years from this point forward, and you must start your yoga classes tomorrow. But it is a fix. If you're looking for a fix, that's it. There you go. You're
I
welcome.
was actually gonna go different. I was gonna go make sure your knees are facing outward. So instead of coming at you like projectiles, they go sideways.
Yeah, but the passenger airbags are much wider. Like now, the passenger airbags are long rectangles. So I don't think it may not push your knees out. It might actually just push your knees into you.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. Then you keep your like you make sure your knees are always out and you
Gotcha.
like
A little bit. I guess it's a bit. Hey, We all have a side also, or a stretch that's better or worse for us. I haven't done yoga in like 15 years. But you can use Maria's strategy if maybe your inner hamstrings are better than your the backs of
If
your
you've
leg
been doing the
hamstrings.
frog pose, that will help a ton.
Yeah. So if you're good in pigeon or frog, you want to use Maria's knee strategy. If you're better at like just putting your palms or more your forearms on the ground when you do a forward fold, you would want to use my strategy. Just depending on where you're strongest and more
I
flexible.
have a better thing. Just try not to get into a car accident. That's just you don't want your insurance to go up.
Right, because that's the main. Everybody. That's the first thing we want to think about. It's not the car accident. It's not wrecking the car. It's not safety. It's just the
That's
price
what
of your
insurance.
insurance. Your insurance is going to go up, guys. You don't want to just don't do the car accident thing. I'm sorry. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Sounds fun, adrenaline rush, but just, we'll skip it.
Go jump off a cliff or go jump off an airplane. You'll
Right.
be safer.
Exactly. So many other ways to get your adrenaline rush. Okay, though we have a good technique for it, we're just gonna rule out car crashes. Okay, no more car crashes, everybody. Okay, we're not doing it. But unfortunately, sometimes in life, you can't control what comes at you, and there is kind of a form of being clumsy, and you didn't even actually move, because sometimes you should just know better. That if your dog is running full speed at you, that you probably should get out of the way. So I'm calling this clumsy on her part for not being smart enough to move or agile enough to move.
I feel bad for her. I mean, let's see.
Like
Like
that's a tiny
she
dog and she is not on either foot. She is in the air. And then like he comes back to look at her like he's almost taunting her. Like wrestling style, like haha, sucker. And did you see that?
he's waiting for her to tap 3 times.
He gives her like a little look back, and then
That dude did not care.
The look. I think that's my favorite part. Like boom, got her. She's down. She's still down. I'm gonna look. Yeah, you down? Yeah, you down.
Yeah, you down.
Oh, it's just that
That's
little bit.
pretty awful. I feel bad for her because at least half of her body was on the soft grass, but her elbows, the way she landed.
I'm thinking if she had to choose, she would have rather been the other way. Like face and elbows landing on grass. Basically,
I
she
agree.
like saved some knee scratches on the grass, but her face and I think she had a phone in her hand too. Like it.
Yeah, I think so too.
The solid part of the ground cover.
And it wasn't like she landed like first the knees and then so therefore reducing the pressure on her upper body. She literally flew. Like
yes. After
full
dropping
impact.
with the wrestling move, we shall name that dog The Rock. Now his name is The Rock. That was a dog suplex. Just took her out. That was yes. Undercut, low bridge, go for the knees. That was like an illegal hit even in American football. But he's a dog. He don't care.
He don't care. He ain't getting no yellow flag.
No.
No card.
It's funny how most of the time like these like strange dog names are usually like of a positive nature. You get like Rock, or you never like nickname your dog or name your dog like, what's up, Clumsy? What's up, Stumbly? What's up?
A very popular name in Colombia for a very long time, 20 years ago, was Danger.
Danger?
You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
But the way it's written is Danger. So I'm impressed that you actually caught it. I was waiting to see if you did.
I'm used to hearing the accent. Yeah, I'm used to kind of like, I know what that letter should sound like in Spanish. So a lot of times I can kind of be like, what would that be if I turn the letters into English sounding letters?
Yes, that's awesome. Good job there. I'm impressed.
What are some of like the funniest animal names? Like not nicknames. I mean, we all have. I mean, Pepita has like 15 names if we're going to count nicknames, but of actual names, what are some of the funniest like pet names you have heard. Guys, you two out there, everybody, write in the comments and stuff. Once we get a chat going, this will be awesome. But I want to hear some of like the really funny, quirky, awkward, like why would you name your animal that? Or that is the most genius name on the planet kind of pet names.
So I was walking down a street once near a park, and I'm like, "Oh, what's your dog's name?" And she's like, "Who?" Oh no, it was which one? I'm like, "That one." She's like, "Which one?"
Yes. This is the
But this
old
is in Spanish. And then another one was like, "How much you want?" Or no, "How much for it?" Something like that. How much for it? It was like the name of the dog. Oh, what's your dog name? How much for it? Something
See,
like
what's
that.
funny is like which one? And then who I would have been like that have been great because then every Halloween I would dress him up in like if it's a girl I'd give it like a nurse hat and like a little stethoscope around her neck and then she would be Doctor Who.
Here I was going. I thought you were gonna go with Dr. Zeus, the Who.
Okay. Okay.
But the
Interesting.
scarf, I would have just gone with the scarf for Doctor Who.
Not every one of them had a scarf and that would have been a little more ethereal. So I thought dogs names Who make it actually look like a real doctor and then it's just Doctor Who.
Good point. Good
I
point.
mean, yeah, I could have strapped like a blue TARDIS to its back, but that's just a little too on the nose. I mean, I was trying to like get a little more creative with it without right. Because then, yeah, do you put it in a bow tie? Because
I
then
was
you
just
got
gonna.
Matt Smith, Doctor Who. Which one do you actually like?
You
Yeah,
have like 13 choices.
there's a lot of choices. Is it 13 now? It's the 13th Doctor, but then one counted twice because David Tennant's one. So I don't know if they counted that as another Doctor because it was a
The
reincarnation.
the first Doctor was again like number 11 or 12.
All right, Doctor Who fans, jump in on this one. I'm curious because David Tennant regenerated, so that counted as a regeneration, but I don't think they ever counted that as a this is the and then added like he is the 8th and 9th Doctor.
Because he regenerated, but as himself, he didn't regenerate as a different
Exactly.
Doctor.
So I don't think so. It did count as one of his regenerations, but I don't know that it counted
As a
that.
different
Okay, he's
Doctor.
the 8th and 9th Doctor, and I know he's not the 8th and 9th Doctor because the Scottish one was the 10th regeneration. So, oh, that's right, yeah, because Matt Smith was supposed to be the 10th. All right, this is a conversation for the backstage show, guys. This is the random stuff that we get into on the backstage show. We have all these conversations that have nothing to do with animals usually. We recap the show for like 2 seconds, give our thoughts, sometimes get some feedback, and then we move on to other random things. But this
We
isn't that.
usually end up with movie stuff. Like for some reason, we end up with names of movies that are weird in Spanish and don't translate well. And
Yes,
it's just
that one was fun. I enjoyed that day also. Okay, so let's see. So Maria, when you were thinking of uncoordinated animals, you came up with penguin. What was there something else that popped in your brain? I think giraffes, but giraffes aren't necessarily uncoordinated. They just look like they should be uncoordinated. But if you ever seen a giraffe run, like they can move along at a really good pace.
very
Uh,
graceful.
and then we had that video of the baby giraffe that was running. Do you remember what video that was? That was so fun when he was chasing the birds and stuff, and he was running around. You don't remember the clip, do you?
You're talking about an elephant. It's the baby elephant who fell down
No, the
chasing.
giraffe. Oh, the elephant was chasing the birds also, but there was the giraffe that was running. Oh, maybe we haven't gotten to that video yet.
We have
keep
not.
forgetting- I put all these videos together, and Maria doesn't actually know what video clips are coming. That's the fun of the show. Sometimes I'll send her a list of the animals that'll be in it, so she just has a general idea of like what we'll be talking about. But she doesn't get to see the clips. But then because I get these all ready in bulk, I forget sometimes what videos we've shown
like,
you.
Am I forgetting
And what
stuff?
videos we haven't gotten to yet. Let's see. Animals, human, battles, one, adorable. It wasn't in.
No, I haven't
Nope.
seen it. I can tell you right now, I haven't seen it.
Okay. All right. Well, hey guys, in a future video, there's an adorable clip of a baby giraffe running around. It's fantastic. You're gonna want to see it.
And Maria has no clue about it, but she will figure it out when.
Well, even if I tell you kind of what it is, you still haven't seen it, so you still haven't got the effect of it.
But you were
Um,
asking me about the clumsiest animal besides a penguin.
yes.
And I have a hard time thinking of what would be clumsy animals because an animal to be able to survive, they cannot be clumsy. Like they just have to have skills that maybe perhaps are not that good for us, but they have to have skills. So I cannot actually think of anything that I'll be like, oh dude, like okay, no.
I'm sorry, but pandas are up there for me. Like, seriously, panda babies are like inches long, and those giant animals, like they have to like basically take them away from their moms immediately because they'll roll over on them and accidentally like squish, and it's so hard to end up with panda babies. And then I just this is one of those hard. So for you, you have a hard aspect of when there's two animals fighting, or one animal needs to eat and it kills another animal. That's like a really hard internal debate for you, which way to
Hmm.
go. For me, one of the hard things is, as much as I love animals and I think that we do ruin their habitats, and we do, it's our fault that a lot of the ones that are going extinct or are extinct are that way. But there is a flip side of this, and this is where I have a hard time. There's certain animals that they were on their way out. Like evolution, nature, had we not come along, they still probably would have been on their way out. And I feel like pandas are one of those, because pandas, I don't hear it.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, good.
Pandas kept moving to different environments, and it was before humans were the cause. And they moved themselves, and it was because of other predators and stuff, and they moved themselves into such a specific area that their diet had to then adapt to bamboo. That was not their normal diet. That's not, if you guys have ever touched bamboo, it's prickly, it hurts, it's hard. Bamboo is not like, it looks pretty, but if you accidentally graze up against one, like, it is painful.
Not only that, but
Um,
they build things with it. I mean, hardwood floors are now made out of bamboo because it grows so
after
fast. It's a beautiful grass.
Yes, after it's been processed. But if you touch natural still green bamboo, no animal like evolved itself willingly to that being its main diet. The amount of food they have to eat just to maintain that mass. So they got pushed to that environment well before we came along, and then they had to adapt their diet, and then you have that mix of, because of their size and how small their babies are, and the amount of time they need to spend eating, so they're not reproducing, and when they do reproduce, their weight and their size so frequently can kill their offspring.
Uh-huh.
That's a good example of one of those animals that was kind of, they're adorable and they're cute, but I don't know if it wasn't for us, they'd still be around.
That's an
Like,
interesting concept because there are many things that we have altered so much because perhaps the panda was not necessarily going to go extinct, but because we were hunting over hunting the prey of that other predator, then they started preying maybe on pandas, and that's what made pandas move. So we don't know if it was a direct or indirect correlation.
I have to look at the dates again because I've looked at this once before, and the amount of time it took for the digestive system of the panda to adapt to bamboo, humans were nowhere around them at all.
Okay.
Like, they evolved to that region and that diet well before human. And if humans were around, it was at a point in time where humans were in bands of like 15 or 20.
Exactly.
It wasn't at any point where, I mean, I'm not going to say Neanderthal or Homo habilis. I don't know what version of Homo sapiens
Humanoid.
were around at that point in time, but no, that was all on their own. So I've read articles that basically kind of said, if it wasn't for us, kind of like avocados, if we weren't
I was just
planting,
going to say something about avocados.
yeah, avocado trees would no longer be around. Like, that seed was brought around by like the gigantic mega sloths, and you don't have an animal that big anymore to move those seeds around. So if it wasn't for us planting them, avocados probably wouldn't be around anymore. And I know that thought probably makes many of you sad.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
just me.
Do you know, can you think of any other animal, really, and this is not an obscure creature, that had adapted to a particular plant that is also located in a very particular location? Like they also niched themselves.
Hmm.
What other animal that had niched themselves really, really closely? They're adorable.
Okay, so you
Also,
have one in mind. This isn't like a
I
general
do.
question.
I do. I was wondering
Okay.
if you could guess
So
what
this is
other
like
animal
quiz
did
time
like a
for me.
panda.
Okay.
Huh?
Quiz time for me, basically,
Yes.
is what we're doing. Okay.
What other animal
Um,
can you think that also niche themselves? And it makes you wonder if it wasn't for humans also. It makes you wonder, not necessarily, I don't know the
okay.
story of this one, but as you were talking, I'm like, ooh, that reminds me of this cute other
Okay.
creature.
So I have to start thinking of animals that are in like very specific region populations. So that makes me think of like orangutans are only in a very specific area of Borneo, but they don't have a very specific diet, so it wouldn't be them.
They're too adorable.
Um,
Too adorable.
like snow monkeys are in a very specific region, but their diet isn't super specific. Though if you guys didn't know this, we talked about this in another video. Snow monkeys actually rinse their food in salt water, so it gives their food more flavor. So chefs of the animal world, snow monkeys are right up there. The Japanese macaques, they actually salt their food so that it gets more flavor. Um, Something in
You're good.
Australia, maybe? Maybe
Huh?
eucalyptus leaves and koalas, maybe? Yes.
I knew you will get it because when it's that specific, it's too specific.
I just
Yes.
didn't think eucalyptus leaves were that rare, and I didn't think that's the only thing that they can eat.
Is but what they do is they when they have babies, they have to chew the food, create like this mass to feed their babies because
Yeah, I heard it do
the
that.
baby cannot eat them.
Okay. But it
Mm.
has to be eucalyptus leaves.
That's pretty much what they eat.
Okay.
Like if you go to a zoo, they'll put eucalyptus leaves.
Okay. Interesting. I did not know that one. Hopefully you guys I'm sure somebody came up with that before I did out there. But we like set a stopwatch and it's like, okay, click it. Someone's like yelling at the screen like Jeopardy. Like, oh my god, you idiot, come on, it's koala. How are you not thinking koala? It's koala. 2 minutes later, come on, koala.
Well, I was gonna tell you about then go like if you didn't catch it, which I knew you would. I was gonna start talking about the myths of the drop bear that they have in
That's you want to give
Australia.
it away too much. And that's not because you wanted to give the clue. You just want to start talking about cryptids again. That has nothing to do with trying to help me answer a question now.
You knew the cryptid, so I
Right.
knew it will help you.
So go ahead. Now you have to explain. Not everybody saw that past episode, so you have to explain the drop bear to everybody now.
According to legend, there is a koala that actually drops from the top of trees to eat humans.
It's like a demon koala. It's not like a
It's a
regular
demon.
koala. It's like a yeah.
It's called the drop bear, but it looks like a koala with fangs, and it will devour humans.
Yes. Because unfortunately,
So what they were
koalas
saying
again.
is they basically came up with that to scare the tourists who were hiking in the forest.
Gotcha. So and that's perfect timing too, because you can circle that back to koalas. Probably are some of the clumsier animals also on the planet. So there's a good chance that the dropping out of trees happened, but it might have just been out of pure like uncoordinated. Oops, I missed a branch. I fell out of a tree.
And the thing is, people think they're sweet and kind, and they're not. They're extremely aggressive. So they may have fallen off a tree, and maybe in the falling, somebody tried to grab it and they got attacked. And perhaps that's where the story began.
So I'm gonna share the same story that I shared the last time we talked about the drop bear. For anybody that didn't see the episode, there was another drop bear in California. An actual, I think it was a black bear, literally landed on a police car and sent it into a ditch. I think the car actually even caught on fire, but they don't know if the bear like jumped off the cliff that was next to this ditch or like fell out of a tree or intentionally jumped on the police car. But the bear dropped on top of a police car, sending it into a ditch and wrecking the vehicle. So that is the California version of the drop bear. You know, most countries in the world have like a sister city or a sister country. That's the sister drop bear of the Australian koala is the California. I think it was a black bear. So there you go, guys. Have fun with that one. We
I
hope
love
you
how we tied it up to clumsy animals one way or another. You just
yeah,
made it beautifully tied.
yeah, exactly. We tied that bow all the way back around. We knew we would get there eventually, and if not, we were gonna make it happen one way or another. Though I still feel bad for the poor girl that got taken out by her dog, but that's okay.
That is pretty bad.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. If you are Patreon subscribers, go ahead and jump on over. We're going to be doing the backstage after this. Guys, any questions that we formulate during the show, hypotheticals, anything that we're not too sure about the information, we fill that in later. So go to the community posts either on YouTube or on Patreon. The community stuff on Patreon is all free, guys. You can jump on over there, get into the conversations, give us your perspective on stuff. Anything we asked in this show, fun hypotheticals, if you want to answer them and put them in there. We have fun conversations. Everybody gets to respond. The backstage shows are part of a subscription thing. If you guys want to join, that is fantastic. Like we said, Maria and I usually get into random conversations about other stuff that usually isn't animal, but sometimes is, and we talk about the show a little bit. So you guys can check those out, and hopefully we will see you next time. We had a blast. We hope you did too.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.